from
Okay,
you.
all
And
right.
then a copy for you to sign so that we can make sure we're doing everything legally. So the consent form is basically, here you can use it.
Okay.
The consent form is basically saying that you're giving us permission to record what you're saying.
Okay.
Utilize any pictures or documents taken at your house.
Okay.
And share this information for our archives or for any publications that happen from this.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
you can take your time and read
So,
it.
how long will this information be in the archives? You guys, like, is it kept forever? Or is it like after 7 years, everything is destroyed? You don't know?
As
No,
far as
I'd
I
say
know, it's
forever.
unless you say that you don't.
Unless you say that's not okay with you.
Okay. Okay.
The reason for this research is so that people can document neighborhoods that don't generally get documented.
Okay.
So, yeah, we do want it so that future generations can like research it.
Okay.
I love this sheet too. It has like everybody's names.
Oh. So I need to sign this before we can start. Sign this before we can start.
Yeah, so you just
So
sign
I
one
print?
and other you can keep.
Do I print my name and then sign it legally here?
Yes, there's a couple different places where you have to sign.
So there's a research consent, then there's a principal investigator. Is that you?
That's
But I can go along the list.
Oh,
with you,
okay,
like,
okay, okay. All right.
sorry, I gotta reach over.
I'm so definitely do it. So this is your printed name right here.
Mhm.
Your signature. So yeah, this would be.
The top
Today
one-
is the
top
17th,
one
right?
is
17th.
theirs. This one's ours.
7/17/17. Okay.
Yeah, this is kind of bad.
And that's it? That's all I need to sign?
Nope. And then if you flip the page,
Okay.
it's one on the other side of that page.
So I print my name here. And then, I just print it? I don't sign it?
No.
Or 4, where's 5? Okay. Now I'm on 5.
Right here, you put the date of the review.
Made by me and on 7/17/17. Okay.
And then print your name on the next one.
Do- print name and signature. Okay. Okay. So you're supposed to do that. I wrote too big. And then 7/17/17.
And then
Okay.
street address. 2577.
79. Yep. Okay. Oh, city. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the last one.
Yeah, that's it. Alright, and this is your
Did you need that back? Okay. And your pen.
So while she's taking the room tone, I'm just gonna get ready for her.
So you want me to do testing 1, 2?
No, you just. Oh,
Is that going to be the distraction?
Yeah.
Yes.
that's okay. That might be actually good. Like,
No.
if you
Oh,
like, if you use
okay.
it for documenting. Okay. No, but for the room tone, we just sit quietly for like 20 or 30 seconds, and
Okay.
it's just to like.
See what you hear in the
Yeah.
background. Okay. Yeah, you gonna hear the car?
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, that should be good.
Alright, now do you want to do like the testing this to make sure her level's alright?
Yeah, just start talking.
Testing. My name is Jackie Smith.
And
actually want the microphone a little bit closer to your, like under your chin.
Okay.
Oh, is there a way?
Next time, you guys
Yeah, you can
suggest
tighten
that they
it
have headsets now.
up. Yeah, right.
How do you tighten this? Is that this thing?
So, no,
Oh, there it is. Got it. Got it.
Okay.
yeah, because
It's just like when you sing and you're supposed to kiss the mic, right? Almost. Okay.
it should be like right.
Okay, that looks good.
Okay.
Say something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, this is Tiana Cooksey and Bella Brewer. I'm here with Miss Jackie.
Beware. Beware.
Beware. I am here with Miss Jackie Smith at her home on 2577. I apologize. North 40th Street. Today is July 17th, 2017, and we are doing an interview with Miss Jackie at her home. Also, this interview is for historical archives at the UW Milwaukee Libraries, and we have her consent to share her information. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this is the
DLC?
the BOC Film School.
No W in there.
With UW Milwaukee. All right, so Ms. Smith, could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background in the community?
Okay. Again, my name is Jackie Smith. I've been living in this particular area for a little over 25 years. I've actually lived in the city of Milwaukee all of my life. I purchased this house because it was convenient at the time. I needed a place to stay, and a relative that had inherited the house and needed to get rid of it. Or I shouldn't say needed to, but wanted to get rid of it. So it kind of worked out in my favor because I needed somewhere to move, and they sold me the home. I had been here before. I had actually visited the house. I knew the tenants upstairs, so I actually had been in the house, and so I knew I liked the house because I had seen it before. When I moved over here, should I keep going? Okay. When I moved over here,
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. You can just like face us naturally.
Okay,
Because
so
the
when
more
I'm
you turn, it gets too loud.
Okay.
So just,
all right. So when I moved over here, it was a little bit different. The racial demographic was changing. There was a combination of black and white, but I think it was transitioning to the majority of being blacks. There were my neighbor here. There was a white guy that lived here. Let me see. There was several white people that lived down the street. So I think it was changing, but they were beautiful homes. Right away, I got involved in the community events, and I don't know how, but at that time they had a lot of push. There was a push for being involved, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how. I think something was on my door, and I went to the community event, and I just became involved. They used to have block parties. I think the guy that's over Sherman Park was there then. I can't think of his name. What's his name? Jeff? What's his name? I don't know.
Lee.
Huh?
Jeff Lee.
No,
Is
I
that
don't. I don't care. But he was over it then. Matt, I believe his name was Matt. There was a young guy who was from UWM who was probably in urban studies. He was also part of the Sherman Park organization. But at that time, there were a lot more people that still owned their homes, and they got involved a lot. But one thing I did notice, is that smell? No. Okay. No, that's not what I did. Is that they were focusing more on everything that was across Sherman Boulevard. as opposed to everything east of Sherman Boulevard. Um, as I lived here, the neighborhood somewhat has changed. I shouldn't say somewhat. A lot has changed.
That is loud. It's really loud when you have the headphones
Okay. And now I lost my thought. The neighborhood has changed. We can't rewind, huh?
No, we're
Oh,
good.
okay. Um,
What are you doing? We can edit this out later.
oh, okay.
It's just
And she walks away. Okay. And leaves the car going. Okay.
I'm just marking down when you interruptions.
what time?
Okay. Cause I even lost my thought. There were a lot more. What was I saying? There were a lot more community involvement. People were involved. There was a lot more homeowners over here, and so by being so many duplexes, if I had known what I know now, I probably wouldn't have purchased the house. Because everybody moved out and they started renting out the places, and then, of course, people don't care because it doesn't. It's not theirs. Then you have the younger generations coming, which, they don't care. But I love this house. I love the woodwork. And I actually, in the past, have went house hunting with the thought of moving, but what was out there and available on the market was nowhere near as beautiful as the house I have now. And when I say beautiful, the woodwork, the hardwood floors.
Can we get inside? Is that okay?
I guess, yeah, because it looks like they're moving. Yes, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought it would be nice, but
Yeah.
right.
It's just like
It's not gonna work.
this
Yeah.
machine picks up like even more than you'd hear just sitting here. Like, super sensitive.
We tried. If it wasn't so sunny, I'd say go in the backyard, but it's too sunny.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hot.
Yeah. It's safe on the side now.
You got it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, where would you like us to sit?
Yeah.
In here,
Yeah.
you could sit in the chair.
Okay. The weed, oh my God. Right, it's either that, the noise, cars, something.
Alright, can I just bring like that chair or one of the chairs?
Yeah, get one of the chairs. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's no
I
problem.
did not prepare.
No, it's cool. You just got home.
I was home all weekend though. And I knew you guys were coming. Okay. So can you rewind it so I can hear it or no?
Right.
No.
We can at the end, but we'll leave it.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can just, skip that. Like, we
Okay.
can skip all of this.
Oh, you can,
Oh, okay.
I
No.
set it up so you can sit in the
Oh,
chair.
you set it up so here. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Let me get my
Oh, no,
little
it's okay.
Here you
thing
go.
out the way here.
Thanks.
And then I'll
Okay. Let me
See, you're good.
let me Oh, it's so much nicer outside. That's my phone. Okay. You ready? Is that you need a little closer? That's good.
Just talk a little bit.
Okay, is that good?
It's a little too loud. Hold on, I can turn this down. Now talk again.
Is it testing?
Okay, do it again.
Testing.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay. Should I continue?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't even know where I left off. But okay, so the neighborhood has changed. Owners moved out, and then you have a lot of tenants because I live in an area where there's a lot of renters. But I love the home because of the hardwood floors. This is probably one of the houses that still have the stained glass china cabinets and all the kind of features that have been destroyed when people move out and people vandalize and steal out everything that's inside. What else you guys want to know? I have 2 children. When my oldest, he'll be 30. I moved in when he was 5. He kind of got a little bit familiar with some people in the neighborhood, but not too many, because there was always fights. So I tried to keep him away from that. My youngest son, who is now in Florida, he never even walked to the corner store around to 38th Street to the corner store. The only person he got to know as friends or played with were a couple of kids that lived across the street at one time. But he chose, even as a young person, he didn't really want to interact with the kids in the neighborhood. So he did, and he was, pretty active in sports. So everything we did basically was outside of our neighborhood. And then we just basically came back to live. So unfortunately, because there's so many transits, you get, and I don't want to talk negative about Sherman Park because I love this area. I really do. And, and you are your neighborhood. You make the neighborhood. But it's kind of hard when it's only 2% of the people trying to make a positive neighborhood. And it'll get there. I do my yard. I keep to myself. I know the people as they move in and out. And everybody, when they move in and out, they quickly know who's been here longer. And you become, I guess, I'm kind of the old schooler. Everybody knows she's been living here forever. Just let her be. And so that's basically how it is. What I hate to see is when people moving out and tearing up these homes. They're so beautiful. That's why I purchased the house across the street. Because I got tired of seeing people coming in and out. And it's a beautiful home. It's a brick house. I had never been in it, but I said when I saw it up for sale, I would get it. Excuse me. And I did. It was a city foreclosed tax property. I bought it, restored it, and now it's sitting. It's been sitting since January. I've had it over a year, since January of this year, because I have not been able to find candidates that I feel are qualified to live in the house. And I would rather take a loss personally as opposed to letting somebody move into the house and tear it up. So if the house is not sold, or I should say, if not rented out by next year, March, I will sell it and then worry about whoever purchased who's the new owners, what they're going to do with the house. But that's why my house across the street is still vacant. What else you guys need to know? So I've been a part of the Sherman Park Community Organization. Um, I was, we used to have block parties all the time at this park over here off of is this right up here 38? What is that little? There's a little park right before you get to Pick and Save.
Oh, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
we used to have our little block parties there. And Sherman Park provided all of the food and everything. And what we discovered is people were sending their kids. So what we tried to do is told them they couldn't eat unless they had an adult with them. So that way, because basically we was trying to get to know the people in the community, not just the kids. We were trying to get to know everybody, the adults. Um, and then we also had um, they had grants where would have giveaways that we give away book bags. Um, they had Marquette. There were sorority in Marquette that would come every year, and we have a cleanup day, and they would come, and we would walk through the alleys, and we would clean up. I think that stopped after Matt left. I don't know the name of that sorority that would come from Marquette every year, but so for a while, I think it had at least I had stopped participating in the Sherman Park for a couple years, and then I started back up after my youngest got out of school. So I decided to, because I was busy ripping and running him all over everywhere, and I just didn't have time because it was every day, almost every day of the week, and on weekends he was somewhere doing something. So I just didn't have time. So I just recently, maybe the last couple years, started back up, and we haven't had a block party, but it's kind of hard because people don't stay more than a year or two. And it was interesting when we did have or try to organize a block party. We would go door to door, and that was the best way. That is the best way to get to know who is living in your neighborhood. Is to ring that doorbell, tell them who you are, and watch their response. People would say, "I'm on my own business. I'm not interested. Don't come to my door." It was just amazing um, to really learn who was in your neighborhood. So we don't do that no more because I think that it's just changed. There's only a few owners still here, very few. I can probably count them on one hand in a two block span. So that's it. Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a list of questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just got some questions based on your responses
Okay.
already. The first one was you talked about the changing racial demographics
Mm-hmm.
and that transition. How did that make you feel, or how did that impact the kind of like the vibe of the neighborhood or how people interacted?
Um. Well, like I said before, you kind of get to know people. When you go to someone's house and they tell you they don't want to be bothered, there's a reason why. Um, you've seen it go from family oriented to drugs. Okay. Um, you look that's the truth. You see what we just experienced. I sit on here on my porch, and everybody, I hate to say this, everybody on the block is smoking a joint. The whole block is lit up. That's my reality. Okay, now they don't believe this. Let me knock on wood. They don't bother nobody. It's not loud. They don't fight. And I'm like, again, I knock on wood because it's been pretty quiet the last couple of years. But I mean, if that's what it takes for you just to shut up, then go ahead. And there's no sense really to call the police because you move one out, another one moves in. My son, anyway, you move one out, you move one out, another one moves in. And it's like, at some point you say, you know what, just forget it because that's really what happens. And now I'm seeing heroin. Okay? People are coming from the suburbs and you live on a corner. People don't realize somebody live here because everything happens on this corner. I see people shooting up. I'm like, what they doing? I had never seen, this is the first year I've seen people actually shooting up in their car. So I'm like, what is going on? And so you go from, people are on something because the look has changed. Like when people were on crack, you could tell they was on crack, but you don't see very many people on crack no more. I guess heroin is cheaper. I don't know. That's what I was told. But you see a lot of needles around, and like I said, I see all kinds of stuff on this corner. People act like the corner house is vacant or something because you hear them talking, you see stuff, men picking up women, doing stuff in crazy car, people doing stuff in the car that's crazy. You be like, okay, really? Okay. Y'all think don't nobody see y'all. There's no windows in this house, but it's kind of depressing. It really is. And I don't know if it's because of unemployment, um, people fast money, depression. They depressed. I don't know what it is, but um, there was a time I would leave in the morning in the summer and go and take a walk up here in Washington Park. I won't do that no more because you have so many people walking the street early in the morning that you don't know what mindset they're in, and you don't know if they're gonna try to rob you or something like that. So I won't do that no more, even though I want to. I won't do that anymore. My son said, "Mom, don't be walking out here early in the morning," because I used to do that many summers all the time. Why are you walking at 5 o'clock in the morning? Because people are crazy, whatever. So it kind of you know, I guess I'm not scared. So um, you kind of adapt. I mean, if it gets so bad, I can move. I'm not at a position where I cannot. So a lot of people say, well, I can't move nowhere. I can if I wanted to. I can move. I can say that. I'm financially stable enough where I can move if that's what I wanted to do. But I don't. I love this house. And I say this, if I was not on the corner, I probably would move. If I did not have a corner lot, I probably would. I couldn't be surrounded on both sides. So now I'm just surrounded by the cars on one side and, people doing crazy stuff. But I get air, I have sunlight. I think somebody said that. At least you have sunlight. And they said in my house, I don't because we have people on both sides. But if I did not live on a corner lot, I probably would have moved by now.
I'm sure you have more questions, but I'm gonna go back to some just biographical information. Like, could you give us when and where you were born?
Okay, I was born in Chicago. My mom moved here. This is the only place I can remember living. So I was very young, probably 3 or 4. I don't remember living anywhere else. So I've lived here. I was raised in Milwaukee. Is that what you want to know?
Oh, when were you born?
Oh, goodness. Do I have to tell all that?
We need
Okay.
some of that stuff.
Okay. So I'm 54.
Okay.
I was born in 1962,
Okay.
October 30th. Right. So
And you have 2 sons.
I have 2 boys. One is 29 and the other is 20.
And what do you do for work?
I'm an analyst. Do I need to say the company?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm an analyst.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's all the biographical stuff we need. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know who's gonna hear this and see this, so I don't want to say the company name. I mean, I work for We Energy, so I have no problem to say that.
Okay.
whatever you don't feel like sharing, whatever you don't feel comfortable sharing.
Okay. Yeah, I work for We Energies. Yeah, I've worked there before I got out of high school in 1980. So I've been there 37 years. Wow. Yes. Yep. So We Energies, thank you. They have helped me finance both of my children. Helped both of them went to college for some time. So thank you, We Energies. Yeah.
So you mentioned that they did a lot of work and they focused a lot on everything across Sherman Park.
Right,
Uh,
from 40, what is Sherman? 43rd? Yeah. West. It seems like it's and it to even to today. Um, I think I went to one of the meetings where they were doing the surveying. They wanted me to be a surveyor, which was walk around and you kind of look at the houses and you look at the worst ones and you kind of know what's wrong with them. Um, but they did say that the most problem areas was everything what east of Sherman Boulevard, and that's because of the duplexes. So I think they focus on neighborhoods that have um, families in single family homes because this is probably once you cross over towards the east of Sherman Boulevard, then there's more duplexes.
okay.
So that's the area that is where most of the problems are. You have the high crime, you have the gunshots, you have the drugs. Yeah, so that's I just found that out maybe a year ago. So yeah,
So when you say focus, do you mean like they invest more in that area, or what? What defines
yeah,
focus?
yeah. Most of yeah. Okay, so when I noticed when I first started being part of the Sherman Park Association meetings that everything, most of the activities, the funds for a while were geared towards those everything that was west of Sherman Park, and you had more participation too from homeowners in that area. So
Nice. Thank you for answering that.
okay.
Could you just you said that woodwork and hardware and things like that were some of the features of the house that you really appreciated.
Mhm.
Could you just go by and if you could explain your favorite aspects of the house, what would those be?
Just the molding, the wood molding, the actual um, stained glass china cabinets, um, and the hardwood floors. Um, and to me, that's because you don't see. This is the only area you see that the type of craftsmanship in. Um, I'm a person who like old things. Period. I've always had liked old stuff, so that's why I haven't did too much to the basement or the attic. I haven't did too much upgrading to any other stuff. I still have the same furnace in my basement that was here when I moved in, and it was old. It's a Chrysler, but when I had to get a part, and the guy said, "Do you know that that's an antique?" I was like, "Well, it ain't broke," but they said you're gonna spend a lot of money buying parts. But yeah, so the woodwork, the molding, because the rooms are small, the closets are small. And it was honestly, it was not an expensive house at that time. That was, and now they're really not expensive. They don't really went down. At one point, they had really went up. The market value had really went up a couple years, but now it's way down. It's less now than when I actually paid for it 25 years ago. So at that time for me, the price was right for what I could afford. So that was probably the main reason I got it.
Nice. So, you talked about you walked around and got to know who lived in the neighborhood.
Hmm.
So, how do you think that connection influences the stability of the neighborhood?
Um, well, I think at least you really do get to know your neighbors when you walk around. I mean, I ain't gonna say no. You know who is living in what house. Um, and I think when you are a part of the community group, um, well, now there's all kinds of ways you can look. Well, now you can look up a person's you can look up a house and find out who owned it. At that time, you didn't. You couldn't. We had to go through a lot of channels to try to find out who owned certain houses, but at least you knew who lived in them because we actually asked people for their name and if they didn't mind giving us their telephone number, the way to contact them. Mostly the women did, but if a man came to the door, he more than likely didn't respond. Um, so I think when you participate in stuff like that, even if you were doing surveying, you really get to know. You might not know them personally, but you know who is actually living in the home at that time. Because, like I said, over here, people, there's a lot of transitioning going on every year. Like people are moving now. I see down, yeah. So people say a year or two, if that long, and then somebody else comes in. So.
Well, can you just like kind of, if you could put it like, just tell a story about how you feel about the neighborhood. I know you talked a lot about liking to be on the corner and seeing a lot of things that go on in the neighborhood. Could you just paint a picture of Sherman Park, like what you see?
I do see the people who have the homeowners who still live in the Sherman Park neighborhood, or should I say, people who have lived here at least 10 years, really enjoy this neighborhood. And I say that because if you go to any direction, there's a bus. You go to Sherman Park, you go to North Avenue, you go to Center, you go to 35th Street. You have access to a bus. And that was one reason I know a lot of professional people live in the Sherman Park area. That was one reason.
You can answer that.
No, I'm not. That's my house phone. And
can you just wait until it stops ringing and then we can continue? Okay. Thank you. Okay.
It's probably a bill collector. Anyway, that's one of the pluses of living in the Sherman Park area. There's access to mass transit. When my car stopped down, I can catch any bus at that time to work. I don't work downtown, but I used to. And I hear people who live here, who still are here, that's why they haven't left, because if they want to be wherever they can just walk out their house if they have to and get on a bus. Not only that, access to the freeway. You know, you can get on over here off of Miller Parkway, or you can go down to Fond du Lac and get on down there. So easy access to everything, basically. If you don't have transportation, the homes are beautiful. I mean, inside and out, if they're kept up. It's I guess I was told some Germans used to live here before. So yeah, and I did recall Germans there and on 53rd Street. They were still in those churches when I moved here. So I think it has a rich history. And I just hope that I like the fact that they do have a community association that is working hard to maintain what we already have. That's another asset, because a lot of communities don't have that type of structure set up in place, an organizational structure that is working hard to maintain the neighborhood. I like the fact that the police are working with the area. You have different people. Now I'm told money is pouring in to try to keep up the neighborhood. They offer grants and all type of loans. So there's a lot of tools. They have a lot of initiatives now to beautify the neighborhood. and that's how I got my garden. I didn't I got a garden outside, but by going through all these different sessions and meetings, I found out different things that are going on um, to beautify and build the Sherman Park area. So I like the what do you call it? The what is it? The strong community effort that they have going in Sherman Park. Because I hear people say, well, they don't never had it in our area. Why we ain't getting no? I do hear that we ain't getting no money. How y'all get to do all that? I have no idea. I don't know what the reason is, but I'm happy they're doing it. So that's what I can say about Sherman Park.
Um, so you talked about kind of you didn't say that safety was an issue.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I just said that I'm not afraid. I ain't gonna say safety was not an issue. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I just said because if I was afraid, I would have got up and left by now. I know my son said, "Why don't you move out this neighborhood?" But he's not telling me to move out. He was just telling me to move out because of the fact that uh, the value is going down. Not the maybe he think it's not safe. But I don't. I've never gotten robbed. My house never got broken into. They broke into. But they didn't. Yeah, I left my garage door open, unlocked, because I didn't want them to kick my door in. But then I realized that I had a heavy door, and they probably would break their foot before they kick in the door. So I started locking my door. I left my garage door open one time, or it malfunctioned, and they did take some things out of my garage, but it wasn't like they broke into my garage. So I haven't, knock on wood again, had any issues yet. So I feel I ain't gonna say I feel safe, but I'm not afraid. Just say it like that.
Okay. And so, how do you feel about the foreclosures or possible evictions throughout the neighborhood?
You know, now that is depressing to see all these boarded up homes, and you know how I don't know what they look like inside, but I've seen I've been told. I haven't seen. When I went across the street with the realtor, they was like, "Oh my God, you got to get this house because usually when you see a house like this, there's holes in the wall." Now they did go in and cut out all the copper, um, but just all the china cabinet, all the glass is gone out of there. Even there's no shelving in there, um, but everything else was intact. And it's just really depressing to see how people can just come in and just destroy property in such a small amount of time. Um, and I guess they at one point they were just raising everything, and then you have just everything looking like a ghost town. Because the area I used to live in, which is off of 24th and Burleigh, that's what it looked like now. You go over there, you're like, where are all the buildings? Because they raise everything, they just tear it down, and I think they're trying to stop that. But now you have it, you setting it up for what they call them, swaddlers, or people coming in doing crazy stuff. Because they're always gonna be somebody who uh, gets in the house to see what's in there. Because when I had that house, somebody had put a mattress in there and was sleeping in one of the back rooms. And after I started fixing it up, they tried to come back in, but I put the bars along the basement windows and the back bedroom side window and back window, and then I also installed a security camera. So, but they will. People walk the street. You have, and they'll just need somewhere to sleep, and they'll just go in and just rest or whatever they be doing out there. But I don't know what's the solution for that. But it looks, and that's probably what has burned the property value down. Is there so many? This block used to be so nice. This end look okay. You stop. It used to be halfway. First it was all the way. Then it just started 3/4 of the way. Now I don't even know if it's halfway down the block. You're like, where am I that? You know, I'm in a whole different neighborhood. It's sad, especially the house on that corner down there that has the siding out. Did y'all go down that way and see that house with the siding all ripped off?
You might have.
Yeah,
Was
we-
that
Right there on that corner. You're like, somebody was living in it like that for a while, but okay. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's that's depressing. That is depressing because I know that's why my property value has went down. So, and that's probably, and it has happened in the last 15 years. It started to look like that.
I have something. Okay, I was gonna ask about last time we were in here, we noticed you had this curtain, and there
Okay.
was
A curtain in there.
a curtain into the door,
Okay.
and
You don't like my curtains? I started to put beads up. Okay.
and this front window is kind of blocked off.
Okay.
What else were they saying?
Oh, you mean because okay,
Just kind of how you've organized your space contrary to what it originally was
Okay.
meant to be. You know what
okay,
I'm trying to
okay,
say?
right.
Okay.
Okay, so I use that's a door. I have a door on the other side,
Okay.
but because I have the window air conditioner, and then I open that door so that I can get some air, and so to get some privacy when my son was still here, and I was changing everything, I put that curtain there to kind of block off that, and so that I can get some air. And in the kitchen also, because I got tired of opening and closing doors, so I took the doors down, and again to provide my son with some privacy because he had that room, you know, when he get up and go take a shower and everything, I put the curtain up so that we could kind of have that privacy when he was going to and back and forth to the bathroom. Now, when I first moved here, that's a bay window. I kept it open all the time. And these are the original curtains. These are the same curtains that was in the house, the same curtains, the same blinds that was in the house when I moved in. Okay? They're the same. 25 years ago. It's the same curtains. I took them down and cleaned them, of course, but they are the same curtains. And I tried to do my best to clean the blinds off. And I used to keep my windows open until I noticed people was looking in. You know, because people are walking and their bay window, you can see straight through the house. And I started, so I had to start kind of keeping them closed. Now I keep it closed because I bought the leather, and the sun was fading my leather. So, and then I noticed too that it keeps the house cooler, and it keeps it warmer in the summertime, in the winter, and keeps it cooler in the summer when you have the blinds closed and the curtains closed. So that's why you see the curtains there. And I just kept them. My son is gone, and I was pulled back because I like to lay in the bed and watch the TV. Right, and because I don't believe you need TV in every room. It just doesn't make any sense. You just need one TV, and I don't believe in TVs in bedrooms. So, but that's why the curtains are there.
Well, that's a good opening to the next question.
Okay.
You talked about the curtains for like use of
Privacy.
privacy and other things. Could you maybe define the borders of the house, like where you define like a formal space versus an informal space?
Oh, you know what? I don't have a formal, because you know when we were younger, I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, we had a living room and we had a dining room. And the living room, you could never sit. My mother would. You could never sit in the living room. They bought furniture and you were not allowed to go in there. Okay, so I don't have a space like that. My whole house is livable. You can go anywhere you want to in my house. You know, and that's the way they were. But my grandmother was like that too. You just didn't go in that room. It was just for show. But my house isn't like that, as you can see. You can be wherever you want. That's what a house is for, is to be used. Okay, so there is no border. I mean, I guess that could be this could be a dining room if you had a table, and I do have one upstairs because I had my sewing area before my son came back. But I guess you have a dining room table you can put it here, and that can be the living room. I don't know, but I don't have such a thing.
Nice. So you talked about you have a garden. Could you maybe explain why you got into that and what it means to you?
Okay, so I do. This is my first year having. Actually have two gardens. I have one at Sherman Park in the Sherman Park Community Garden. I have a plot, they call it, and I have a plot outside. I have a home in Mississippi, just to say that. And I've always wanted a garden, but I can't be down there and have a garden because, it takes a lot of time. My mother and my grandmother always had a garden. And so I wanted one. And when I went to one of these community sessions, they talked about this new initiative, Victory Garden. This new initiative they had, and they were trying to, healthy choices. I guess that's what it's called, grow more food. You see my little sign out there. And so they would come and install this 4x8 garden bed and put organic soil in it. And I said, "Ooh, I've always wanted a garden. This is my chance." Especially if somebody would come and set it up for you. They had all the classes on how to plant. They gave you a starter plan and all that kind of stuff. So I've always been used to eating fresh food when I was young. So I thought that would be a great thing, and I love it. I had my first harvest yesterday. I picked some greens, some collards from my garden at Sherman Park, and I gave them to my sister because I already got a freezer full of collards. So, but that's a healthy choice.
So, now I'm about to start asking you about more of the house.
Okay.
Story.
Okay.
What do you use your basement for?
Nothing. Just to wash. I have a wash and dryer, and for storage. I don't have bigger stuff stored out there. I go through my house every year for each floor, including my clothes, finding out what I need to throw away. I'm not a hoarder. I don't believe in keeping stuff that you really don't use. So I don't use my basement for anything other than storage, and there's not very much stored down there. I've never in the 25 years I've been here, I've never used it for anything but storage and washing.
So where would you describe your workspace to be if you have one in a house?
You mean work? Like what kind of work? Work.
Any type of work.
Well, see, okay, yeah. Well, that was after my kids were grown, and I went back. I had fixed up my own little studio. I got my own little. I call it my arts and crafts room now. But that's what after he came back, that's I had to condense it because I had the whole upstairs. I got a big. You talked about dining room, living room table, a dining room table up there that I use for my main table that he's using for his music now, whatever he's doing up there. But that probably was my workspace. And then I've used my garage to do some of my little arts and crafts and stuff. But I just use the kitchen table, whatever. Wherever I'm at the floor, I move stuff and just use the center of the floor, whatever. Space is available.
So, yeah, right. So you talked about you only believe in having one TV. So how do you...
Okay.
Where do you feel like how have you entertained yourself in your house in regards to like the technologies that you use?
Okay, and here is where me and my son, we would sit and watch TV. My oldest son, I can't remember, because from 9th to 12th grade, I didn't have him. He was with my sister and her husband. That's a long story in itself. That's a whole different story. I say that. I had to, oh no, I shouldn't say that. MPS. I didn't want my son to go to MPS, so I had to give up my parental rights to my sister and her husband who live in a suburb so he can attend that school. So he wasn't here. That's a whole different story. Okay, so and my son was like, the oldest son, he got TVs everywhere up there. I'm like, why? You only need one. But I think that made us bond more because we used to fight too. And as he got older, okay, I let him have a TV in this room because he wanted to watch sports all the time. And I was not. So as he got in high school and he wanted to watch all the sports stuff, he did get a small TV in his room because he couldn't use. I wasn't sitting up watching sports all day. Um, but now when he come, he's moved to Florida. We just sit and watch one TV. That's I didn't. I just didn't believe in that. You should have. To me, that makes people lazy. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get out the bed. That is, then you don't want to do nothing. So I don't only believe in one TV. So that's me.
And could you just explain kind of how you personalized your house and how you made it unique since you moved in?
Personal, I just kind of it's really not decorated that well. It's just okay. The rooms I painted, I sponge painted. The bedrooms, I did those myself. The walls were all solid colors, and so I wanted to paint. I wanted to do something different, and sponge painting was in. So I said, I'm gonna do. I had never painted. I said, I'm gonna change the room. I did my research, and I sponge painted both of the rooms, the bedrooms, um, and I don't know. The furniture has changed. I've had this for so long, over 20 years. This furniture. Um, I don't. I really just went by. I didn't have no design. I just got stuff as I needed it or wanted it, and just threw it in the house. I'm not no decorator or anything. I just, oh, that's on sale. Let me get that, something like that. But actually, my table, my sister, it was given to me. The only thing I think I actually really bought new was my stove and refrigerator. I bought that secondhand at my bedroom set. A lady was moving or was getting rid of it, and she didn't want it. I bought it from her along with that mirror. Um, the couch is probably the only thing new. I bought this from the Goodwill. Okay, okay. My son gave me the TV. Um, so and I think I bought the little stand years ago from somebody. So I buy stuff secondhand. I don't buy too much new. Um, so I'm not a
Sorry.
interior decorator. I think somebody gave me that cabinet there. You know, I don't believe in spending money on a lot of stuff. So, okay.
All right. Do you have any?
The outside though, I did have that little part there. Just landscape that this year. Okay, that I did do. There were some bushes, some of the same type of bushes that across the street. So I did have them prune some of the branches off and kind of shape it. So that I did just had that done this year. Um, there were some awnings when I moved in the house. There were awnings on the balcony there, coming over the windows. I had those removed. Those were taken off. What else? Did I do? Oh, the block windows in the bathrooms. I had those installed. I got glass block windows in the bathroom, and they had just the old wood frames that you let up. Um, I think that's it that I've done since I've been here. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and the chandelier. There was an old chandelier. That's the original fixture. This was here when I moved here. There was a chandelier in the kitchen. I had a ceiling fan, and now I got a regular light. So also there were the push button um, lights switches. I changed those myself. In the hall, in the upstairs, in here they were the same. In the back hall they had the push button. Upstairs in the kitchen they had the push button. and the downstairs entrance light to the upper was also push button, the still old push button, and I changed those. That house over there actually had some push buttons, and I had to change those. So they still had. I was surprised when I went over there. I said, "Oh my goodness, they still got." You know what I'm talking about? The little push the button in. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? No, no. The light, the switches that go up and down when you turn on the light switch.
Mm-hmm.
They was actually it was two buttons. When you push it in, the other one came out, and so you know you know what I'm talking about now. I call them push buttons. I don't know what else to call them, but yeah, that house over there still has some. I was like, wow, and of course the city made me change them because they said they had to be up to code. I said, why we can't leave that in there? But you can't leave it in there.
Alright. Well, could you just if there's anything that you think that we missed that you would like to talk about?
No. So when will I find out the history of the house?
We're working on that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So-
So when was the house built?
Yeah, we need that.
No,
don't-
asking.
Oh,
That's a question.
Do you have that done?
Yeah, I got it.
We should have that.
I got you.
And do you have the owners? Y'all still working on that? What was the name? You know, I had went. My oldest son was going to Kluge Elementary, and I went into. Did I go in to register him, or I was trying to get him in a different school? And the secretary said, what's your address?" She said, "Oh my God, that's my grandmother's old house." That was so hilarious. She said, "I could tell you what it looked like on the inside. I remember it when I was a kid." I was like, okay.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we should be able. I think we have all that stuff. We just have to go back and look again. I don't know it all off the top
Oh,
of my
okay,
head.
okay. You don't have it in your
Yeah,
notes.
I do. It was built in 1922.
22.
The original address was 979 North 40th Street.
What was it?
Without the 40. It was 979 40th Street.
979 40th Street. And who owned it? Do you have that? No.
It wouldn't be right here, but we do have information about
We went to
permits and
the city permits office and stuff. So.
Okay. Because I know it had gas lights. Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. There wasn't electricity going through the house. That much I do know.
When you moved in, there was.
No. They took because the fixtures is still up in the ceiling. When they go up, they're capped off, but they're still up there. So they didn't have electric lighting. They had gas lighting. I don't know how they did that, but yeah. Mhm.
Closing script again.
Oh, you got a closing script?
Alright. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already asked you if you had anything you would like to add. In conclusion, this has been Tiana Cooksey with the 2017 BOC Field School. This interview will be archived at the UWM libraries. Thank you, Miss Jackie Smith, for your time.
And you're welcome, and thank you.
Thank you.